The following program is a Creative Magic Network production.
You're listening to the Frederic Show, where sky is the limit and space is the place. Here's your host, Frederic.
Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome. Come on in, sit down, relax. Put your earbuds on. This is the Frederic Show, and welcome. This radio podcast is about unleashing your creativity. We talk to experts. We step into the unknown. It is an inspirational, magical, intuitive radio podcast as we chat with charismatic enigmas. That's right, people, artists from around the globe. Musicians, singers, radio hosts, business people, photographers, everything in between. I am Frederic, the man of the hour, the man with the power. I'm too sweet to be sour and funky like a monkey. Hey, I sting like a bee, produce sweet honey, and I am pretty. And I am your favorite French Canucker. And today it is the Friday edition of the Frederic Show. And as usual, now it's becoming something that is pretty common, actually, where I share articles, fascinating, fun articles that I think you will love, that I think will enhance your life, that I think will inspire you, that will tap into your intuition, and, something that was just, makes you think a little bit, because I'm a thinker. I'm known among my friends, and people have known me for a long time as some kind of philosopher. Now, a lot of philosophers are just boring as heck. Now, they really are boring, the most boring people on earth when it comes to entertainment. But I guess this is what makes me different, I guess. I don't know. I like entertainment, and I like to learn something. This is why I love artists and authors like Paulo Coelho, right? Because you learn something when you read, even if it's fiction. And today I have an article from the Huffington Post, written by a lady, actually a young lady, a 14-year-old student and writer, Lynn DeLille. And the title of the blog is How Schools Are Killing Creativity. That's right, How Schools Are Killing Creativity. Now, it's been said many times through Sir Ken, if I'm not mistaken, Ken Robinson, yeah. He did a TED Talk years ago, I think it was 2013 or 2012 or something like that, where, he talked about how school is killing creativity, and it's one of the most watched, TEDx, TED Talks, actually, in I think it's the most watched, if I'm not mistaken. That's one of them most watched. And I understand it. I think our schools are in a place right now where they need to change the way they've been doing things. They can't keep doing what they've been doing, because kids have changed. They have changed for the last maybe 10 years. I mean, now with podcasts and all the blogs and the internet online, even people who did go to school nowadays, even the baby boomers will say, hey, you better learn, online you can learn whatever the heck you want. And I think that's challenging the college, universities type of traditional education. People, in my opinion, are becoming more and more creative. And I think they're looking for other outlets. I don't think they trust the system anymore. And this is why maybe people like Donald Trump, Marine Le Pen, or, it's not a political show, I won't go there, but, these people are just kind of out of the box totally, are running our countries now, or they're about to run our countries, or they have a lot of influence at least. Anyway, this lady, Lynn DeLille, a 14-year-old student and writer on HuffPost.com, she writes, I don't claim to be an expert in education. I am still a student, and I speak for myself. I believe that students should have a voice in the education system today, because mainly they are the ones who are being educated. The control of education should be in the hands of students. They should be centered first and foremost. And she writes that some students graduate, some fail out, some drop out, and nothing really changes. The education system reminds me of a dictator that is unwilling to step down. Ain't that real? Ain't that true? I feel the same way, even, I'm a little older than her, but I feel that, they need the school system needs to change. She writes, I strongly feel that our mythologies in schools are demolishing creativity. Students have lost the capacity of creation simply because our teaching methods don't stimulate innovation and creativity. Remember being a kid and wanting to play around? No one told you how to use your imagination or taught you how to be creative. You played with Legos, you pretended you were an astronaut and imagined traveling in space or being a YouTube star. Being naturally creative, you ask questions like, why is the grass green? And why are we alone? Questions no wise man could answer. Then came school, a child's worst nightmare. And I will add here, for a lot of people, not everybody, you have these people who will say, hey, I really do dig school, and that's fine. And she ran to live in a rotten environment. You were bullied and made fun of, and you had this teacher that told you to stop dreaming and live in reality. I think we've all been told that at some point or another, and for sure I did. And she goes on, she writes, the whys you have always wanted to ask are never on the test, and they are omitted from the curriculum. Imagine this, a normal classroom with cheerful faces. Students' excitement to start school exists the classroom. The teacher asked the students to draw a tree. Some students were talented, others were okay, and some students couldn't give a visual figure of a tree. The teacher rates every student's work. Some students get an A+, some get a D, and others get a big fat F. And those students who got A's now believe they're highly talented and artistic, but those who got an F, well, they start to think that they are losers and that their work is rubbish. And, in the 21st century, guys, the world demands students who can think creatively and critically. I mean, I think that's creativity, and I can't remember which book I read, but that said that. But actually, creativity is actually the quote-unquote skill that is going to be required in the 21st century as time goes on. And she writes, as technology develops, we will have robots to do all the basic work for us. However, it is our mission to ensure that the next generation will be full of inventors, musicians, painters, mathematicians who will in turn bring humanity to another level. Don't we need that? Don't we need that as a student? As a student, she writes, I know one thing for sure. I never want to be a product living my life inside a box. I want to cherish my mind. And education is the beauty to nurture creativity, to fuel curiosity, and to create a well-rounded person. I mean, she talks about a lot, the article is a lot longer than that, obviously, but she really, I think for a 14-year-old, that was greatly written. I highly encourage you to read it. It will nurture your mind. It will give you the perception of a 14-year-old. And I think that article was written in 2012, actually, April 10th, 2012. And so this is the HuffingtonPost.com, how schools are killing creativity. All right, guys, time for me to ride off into the sunset. And next week, we're going to have somebody who's fascinating, a guy who I know, I've known now for a little over a year. And he's been on the show twice already. And he has a great new book that talks about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. His name is Jeff Rasley. And chatted about this book. And you know what? His interviews are always insightful. This guy is a type of writer that I really, really like. You're going to find, he's the type of fiction writer. I always compare him, and during the interview, you're going to hear this. We talk about how I thought that one of his favorite authors or influence was Paulo Coelho, and I was positive of that. But he's a type of writer, that type of writer where it talks about sex, drugs, rock and roll, and football. But there's always a spiritual twist on it, an insight on it, and Jeff puts it really, really nicely in his book. Another fascinating interviews. I encourage you to tune in next Wednesday. Yes, it will be published next Wednesday on the Creative Magic Network on the Frederic By Show. And guys, if you have a passion something that fuels your curiosity, what on top of getting fascinating interviews straight to your inbox. When you subscribe to our free Creative Magic community, you will get super cool exclusive gifts in return, like the ebook Happiness Quotes by the ambassador of happiness herself, Maura Sweeney. It is an anthology of 25 inspirational quotes about living a happy life from the inside out. It is cataloged by Maura Sweeney and further enhanced by her reflections. She offers information and more to help underscore each contributor's quote, and she provides suggestions so that you can incorporate these maxims into part of your mental landscape. FredерicBye.com. That's Frederic with a C, bye like bye-bye.com. Hope you enjoyed this little episode and this little article. And don't forget, live with purpose, passion, fire, and love. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Frederic Bye Show. For more information, go to FredericBye.com. That's Frederic with a C, bye like bye-bye.com.